What's going on, Washington Football Addicts? We are back again for another show. It is Thursday, June 24th. It is myself, Steve, and I got my boy Phil.
What up?
It's the dynamic duo tonight. Unfortunately, Dev and Rod can't join us due to other engagement, but we're going to bring it to y'all tonight, just us two. So let's get into it. Episode 76. Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we start out. Phil, what you got for us?
Episode 76 is going to be in honor of Jon Jansen. Jon Jansen was a right tackle for us for 9 years. In fact, his first 7 years with this team, in fact, first 6 seasons with this team, didn't miss a single game. Didn't miss his first game until season 7, where he only missed 1 game. Injuries kind of got him in 2007, 2008, and that was the end of his run here, but was a stalwart left tackle in every sense of the word. 6'6" tackle, drafted in the second round in 99 out of Michigan. Was one of the biggest reasons why we had such a successful running game with Stephen Davis, with Clinton Portis. All these guys, they ran behind Jansen and the rest of that offensive line. Hell, even Trung Candidate got 500 yards running behind that line, and he sucked. But anyway, I had to bring up Trung Candidate because that's Steve's boy. Yeah. But anyway, Jon Jansen, outside of the Hogs, we look at all the guys who were part of that Hogs iteration as, the great offensive linemen in Washington history. But outside of that, Jansen, bookending with Chris Samuels, now that's a tough duo right there, and one of the best in the 2000s as far as bookend tackles go in the NFL.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Episode 76. Former offensive lineman Jon Jansen. All right, so let's get right into it. First question coming into tonight. So there's a lot of national talk about our team. Our defense is going to be great. Offense is to be determined. So one of the questions on Bleacher Report I read recently was, is there enough quarterback talent on this roster for us to be successful, and how far will these quarterbacks take us? So we got the 38-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick. We got 28-year-old Taylor Heineke, lightning, flash in the pan. We don't know what he's going to be. And then we got the 25-year-old coming off injury, Kyle Allen. And then we have Mr. Mysterious Steven Montez, but nobody knows what he's going to be. So do you think we have enough quarterback talent on this roster, and how far do you think they can take us?
Well, let's step back a second. What did we do last season with a 24-year-old, mostly injured Kyle Allen, a mismatched second-year quarterback in Dwayne Haskins, and peg-legged Alex Smith? And we didn't have but one wide receiver threat. We had a rookie running back who hadn't played the position full time before, and a tight end who had never been as a featured tight end one before. And what did we do?
Won the division. Got into the playoffs.
Went to the playoffs. So now you're going into 2020. We've got more wide receivers. We have seen that Antonio Gibson can do the job, and we drafted a right tackle. Apparently, I thought he'd be a left tackle, but nonetheless, so he shored up protection. We drafted a second tight end who's appearing to be a weapon. We have our number one tight end he's still got room to develop. And we brought in, we found out that Taylor Heineke is a gamer, and we brought in a veteran who's playing the best ball of his career. I think we have enough to win the division again, especially with that defense on the other side. Do I think it's going to take us to a Super Bowl? No, I'm not predicting that. But can we get 10 wins out of this team as it is with the quarterbacks as they stand? I think so. I don't think that that's irrational or illogical to think. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I agree. I think we can get it where we got next year. Now, I think it's important that we say that the NFC East is probably not going to be as bad as it was. I think that's fair assumption that we can say that. But with who we have, I'm confident we can at least compete with the way we did last year. What did we finish 7-9? I think we can match that. Because the defense just got better. Jamin Davis, freaking Benjamin St. Juice could be a baller. We added Curtis Samuel. So I think the reason I think we can at least mimic what we did last year is because I don't think that the offense is going to have to do as much, right? Given that this defense is the heart of the identity of what we are, and if Jamin Davis turns out to be our Luke Kuechly that Ron wants him to be, the offense shouldn't have to do much. Just run the hell out of Antonio Gibson, pass when you need to pass on third down, play action. There should not be a lot of pressure.
Look at it this way. Do you really think that we don't have enough quarterback to do better than a 38 combined QBR?
Right.
Definitely do better than that. So I don't. That's a question. I mean, it's a legitimate question because of the fact that we have one guy who's not proven at all, a second guy who is in Kyle Allen, and Fitz is having this strange career renaissance where he's playing better now at age 38 than he's ever played. So it is a strange situation, but at the same time, compare it to last year and compare the surroundings around the quarterback position from last year. And there's no way you can sit there and say, there's no way they can do it again. No way. No way. The offense is going to be improved just based off of the surrounding talent alone, let alone the fact that, I'm sorry, in 2020 and 2021, I'm taking Ryan Fitzpatrick 12 times out of 10 over Alex Smith.
Oh, hands down. Not even a question. Give me Fitz all motherfucking day.
I will take Heineke over Alex Smith 12 times out of 10.
Right.
And I'm not even the guy who's out here going rah-rah for Taylor Heineke. I would take him over Alex Smith.
I think we'll be all right. We'll just see how much Scott Turner wants to really open up things in the playbook and what is he going to change from last year? Because it'd be nice to see a lot more Antonio Gibson, if you ask me. So take the pressure off the quarterback. We could have taken the pressure off the quarterbacks last year. He was so pass happy when he didn't need to be. When you had guys who really weren't ready to be slinging the rock 40, 50 times.
I really think that they were trying to ease. Some of that was just easing Antonio Gibson into the role.
Right.
Because he was a rookie. Has just as many touches as a wide receiver as he did as a running back in college, and neither one he did on like a starter level basis. So I think it was a matter of show us you can do it. Show us you can do it. We'll give you. And his load carry grew as the season went on.
Yeah.
We know that he can ball out against division opponents. So you're going to get at least 6 games a year out of Antonio Gibson where he's going to play well. And I'm sure he'll do well against other teams.
He's part owner of the Cowboys, if you want to get technical about it.
I'm telling you, that's and the Antonio Gibson story is one of those things that I'm happy I was wrong about.
Yeah.
I am happy I was wrong about it for many reasons. One, because the 2 guys I had on the roster ahead of him taking that starting job are no longer with the team. So I'm happy I was wrong about that. I'm happy because I'd hate to have been right and him be the option.
Yeah, big bummer. All right, well, we shall see with the quarterback. Next topic is my boy Derrius Guice, number 29. Segue. Latest topic with old Derrius. He got all the charges dropped. Let's just recap this. So he had 4 charges that he was charged with in Ashburn, out of Loudon, Ashburn, wherever he was living, against his girlfriend at the time. And the team released him literally hours after these charges came. Hours, literally hours. all said and done, it was a settlement. The details have not been released to anyone. It just said it was a settlement. So I'm guessing it was some compensation involved. Of course, that's how settlements work. But he was facing jail time had he been convicted. So the powers that be got together and they settled it with compensation. So and here we are. So it was just a shame because I really feel like he was going to have a year last year. I'm not super bummed about it because we got Antonio Gibson, so I'm happy about that. But I really, really, really love Derrius Guice, and I just felt like he was gonna do it. You know, him and AP. Well, we thought AP was gonna be on the team, and then this happened. So what do you think about old Guice getting freed up now?
I have to be the one that has to come up here who carried that torch till the day he got released for Derrius Guice, and I have to say, I don't care.
Yeah.
There's enough stories surrounding that guy that some of which didn't come out until after these charges and after he got released that make me say there's no way he fits into the culture. There's some people are saying, well, maybe we should look at him as an RB2. We don't have much depth behind Derrius Guice or behind Antonio Gibson. No. Ron Rivera first of all, Ron Rivera is not going to take this guy back. Secondly, this team, where it stands culturally, where it stands in trying to rebrand, is not bringing Derrius Guice back. Do I think he had the potential to be a 1,200 yard a year running back and just an exciting guy to watch? Yes. So did Lawrence Phillips. We saw what happened with him. Unfortunately, I think Guice has the same thing where his head's just not on right. He's in a completely different mental state. You don't creepily hit on grandmas at 20 years old at high school football games unless your head is just not screwed on.
No shame whatsoever. None.
I mean, it's just something you don't do. So no, I have no interest in anything. I have no interest in the Derrius Guice business. I have no interest in it whatsoever. And, me last year, a little pained to have to face that because I was the one on here having weekly, if not bi-weekly arguments on Guice and Bryce Love versus Antonio Gibson. But look, time has shown that you can't roll with Guice because his head's not on right. You can't roll with Bryce because his knee's not on right.
Nope.
So we're running with Antonio Gibson, and we're gonna have a backup competition to see if this Jarrett Patterson kid can do something. Which, hey, look, the tape looks good on him so far, and he's kind of reminded me of Maurice Jones-Drew if you want a physical comparison. But I don't know. I'm not in the Guice business. Hopefully. Mm-hmm. The charges were dropped and everything where it was a matter of they did the payoff, but it was because there was enough evidence to go to court and he didn't want a prolonged battle. And it's not a case of where he just paid straight up hush money. We won't know. We won't ever know. But I have no desire to be in the business of Derrius Guice.
Yeah, I agree. It's about culture now, and the idea of him was fun, right? He was a fan favorite. Everybody loved him. We thought we found our guy, fun loving, owner loved him, fans loved him, and then that stuff kind of on him. But it is what it is.
Honestly, with what we knew of him at the time we drafted him, it was one of those things where we got the guy who seemed like he was going to be the as far as his culture and personality, the reclamation project that so many other teams get. The guy who comes from a troubled past, and then he becomes a pro, and he does, poor boy done good kind of story.
Right.
But no, the habits continued, and so yeah. Look, we gave him 2 years. He gave us some injuries. He gave us one exciting game, 1.5 exciting games. Yeah,
true.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. If he's legitimately not guilty, or it's not nearly what it seemed to be, I mean, good for him. But there's enough smoke to let me know that there's fire, and I don't want to get burned.
Yeah. And I wonder if anyone's going to be willing, someone's going to be willing to take a chance and sign him to a minimum deal. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Patriots.
Yeah. And I will be a little bummed if he does end up, balling out. But like you said, he just doesn't fit in the culture with this team. I'm okay with that. So I think I've had my piece with Derrius Guice. I still have his jersey, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Because I posted an Instagram video when it happened. What I'm going to do now, huh? It's all fucked up now. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we will remember his name. And speaking of name, our team continues to not have a name. We are the team with no name. And so let's talk about the recent news. The U.S. Patent Office has denied the team's request to use Washington Football Team as a trademark. It doesn't mean they were going to choose a name. They just filed for the trademark in July of last year. And it was denied because Mr. Martin McCauley secured the trademark Washington Football Club. And they say that Washington Football Club is too similar to Washington Football Team and would cause confusion among consumers. So technically, nobody owns the term Washington Football Team. It's free reign. I could go out and do whatever I want with the Washington Football Team logo, name right now. I'm not going to, but I could. That's crazy.
I mean, I remember all the bootleg Smurf T-shirts back in the late '80s. You know, they just colored them slightly different color, and they had them wearing gold chains and smoking blunts and things like that because there was something about the trademark allowed for that to happen. So if you're in the business of the bootleg T-shirts, make your money now.
Right.
Look, Martin McCauley he talks out both sides of his mouth. He's a smug asshole. And he really thinks extremely highly of himself. And you know what? I'll give you this. You are so quick to snatch these trademarks up, and you've cast a really wide net of names so you can just keep causing these problems. But don't sit there and tell me it's not about the money. All they have to do is contact me. Blah, 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 blah.
Because it ain't about the money.
Yeah, because those tweets he put out have mysteriously been deleted.
Yes, deleted.
Now, your boys here at Washington Football Addicts, we got them.
We got them.
We got them for posterity's sake.
We don't forget. We don't forget.
And at the same time, his lawyer saying that Mr. McCauley is more than willing to talk to the team and negotiate a deal. That tells me it is about the money.
Correct. And the latest thing from his attorney was also, as we've told the team in the past, Mr. McCauley is willing to discuss assigning his valuable registration. There's
valuable, huh? Sounds like he's assigned a monetary value to that.
There is legitimate proof previously. Is like all he wanted was the team to change the name. That's why he got all these trademarks. These are called trademark squatters. There's multiple ones. There's multiple Martin McCauleys. It's just that Martin McCauley has the most. He has the most prolific list of team names. So the team has 6 months to respond to the trademark refusal. Now I'm sure they have some very powerful lawyers. And I kind of hope that they sick all their lawyers on this thing and figure it out. It's going to suck if they have to just pay this guy for the name that they want. But he holds names to, I'll just spit these out. The Red Wolves.
He can keep that one.
Shout out to Marcus Davis. The Tribe, the Red Tails, the Monuments, the Veterans, the Renegades, Gridiron Football, the Braves, Professional Football Team, the Freedom Fighters, the Warhogs, Radskins, RAD Skins, red-tailed hawks, and the Washington Potomacs. I think there's a few more, and what he does is the U.S. Patent Office has to prove to the U.S. Patent Office that he has these for a reasonable cause. So he can't just have these to have them. There's actually law written to where if he's not using these in a certain way, he can't own them. So if you notice on Twitter today, he said he sent a bunch of shirts out to some people who one of these names, I don't know which one of them, and he's also, when he started claiming trademarks for all these names, he would always post on Twitter, now deleted, that, hey, I have this name. I would love to start a local area flag football team, and I will sponsor you for free. So all these things out there, he's trying to put on this facade that he has these names for other reasons. It's all bullshit. He just wants to get paid by the team. I'm not going to blame the guy. It's capitalism. Good job. But you know what? You're fucking with my team name now. So now I'm starting to get pissed off, right? You're really getting in the way of us getting past this no-name phase. Go away.
IP laws are most people probably don't notice, although if you've caught on things I've said, big free market type guy, in ways that no one would understand. IP laws are always the one tripping point I have, because I can kind of see both sides of the argument. But nonetheless, I'm glad you brought up that Red Wolves name. I'm not going to go too deep into Mr. McCauley, because I'd actually like to have him on this podcast. And little hint, it's something we've been trying to float out to the right people. We would like to have Mr. McCauley on this podcast, because if he is as steadfast and can prove himself the way he would, I'm sure he'd love to come in and meet with some fair and objective lines of questioning. Because I would love to give him fair lines of questioning. I don't personally buy into his shit, but I'm open to being convinced if he can convince me. But I'm glad you brought up that Red Wolves name, because first of all, he can keep that. I'm sure there's a good U10 soccer team, travel team that could use that name, and he can sponsor them for free, and those kids can go play. You can sponsor some team in his People's Republic of Arlington that he lives in, and they can go out and they can play teams in Silver Spring, and they can go to Pennsylvania, and they can go to South Eastern Virginia and the Tidewater. Sponsor those kids that Red Wolves name. But I'm going to kill the Red Wolves argument, the support for that name, and why the team's not going to pick this name. As you know, if you're a listener to the podcast, I am part of the fan network, the fan ambassador network, and I have seen some of the other people who have been selected for that fan network, and none of them are the Red Wolves backers on Twitter. None of them are the ones who are constantly pushing it. They went through everybody's social media when they did these selections. They saw what they were posting on Twitter. And the biggest Red Wolves backers all got rejection letters. That tells you right there, that's not coincidence. As deliberate as this team is being, there's no coincidence on this. Red Wolves is out. It's done. It's this, and everybody points to these polls. Oh, look, this poll on Twitter, this poll on Facebook, it says this, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something about social media polls, people. You will not believe how many social media polls I saw that said that the 2020 presidential election was going to be won by Joe Jorgensen of the Libertarian Party in a landslide.
Yes.
And she got 1% of the vote.
Yeah.
That should tell you everything you need to know about Twitter polls, okay? And Facebook polls and all this other stuff, Survey Monkey, whatever, all right? If you coordinate, and I've seen it, you coordinate campaigns of your followers for an idea or for a person, for a name, to go to these polls. Hey, make them believe that this has more support than it actually does. They're trying to wish something into existence. I get it.
Well,
It's great strategy.
You ever think that maybe they rejected all the Red Wolf supporters so they can convert all the non-Red Wolf supporters, people like you? Maybe that's what they're trying to do. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know. Here's the thing. I can hear somebody saying that, and that's why I said it makes no sense.
Right.
If you're saying, hey, this is going to be the name, you want people who can really rally behind it to make it feel like the fan base is truly behind the name.
Yeah.
It's not. Red Bulls is out. If you're a fan of the name, I'm sorry. Call me Phil Heath because I am the Dream Killer. It's done. It's over.
I don't mind the name. It's not. Some people hate it. I don't hate it. I don't like it, but I don't hate it.
I loathe it.
I like it. I like it because it gives it's easy to fit into the fan identity thing, right? The other names, not so much. What do you name the stadium? Battle Cry, all that stuff. It's easy with Red Wolves. Doesn't mean it's not. You can't have it with the other teams.
Easy.
Yeah, maybe that's why many people like it. But all right, well, enough on the name. Let's talk about.
I had one other thing.
Go ahead.
I had one other thing that someone brought this up to me. Someone DM'd me this on Twitter, and they brought this up. Now I think this is more coincidence than anything, but something to keep an eye on because this name has been coming up a little bit more lately. One of their marketing guys, he does something with imaging and image and marketing and things like that. They just hired from Naval Academy, and their marketing team or whatever. And suddenly the name Commanders is popping up a lot more. I don't know if that's coincidence because the Red Bulls thing's fallen off and now we've gone from Renegades to Warriors to now we're on Commanders. And maybe it's just timing of it all, but just one of those things, someone brought that up to me and I said, you know what? Interesting. I don't think it means anything right now, but these are the kinds of things you keep an eye out for when you're trying to gauge which way the franchise is going.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. Generals is kind of cool, but that one's already taken too. So Commanders.
Unfortunately, that was the team that got its ass kicked on Wide World of Sports for 20 years by the Harlem Globetrotters.
And they're the one. Their parent company are the ones who own that name. So there you go. That all makes sense. All right. So let's talk about our boy Carl Nassib. So I watched Carl Nassib on Hard Knocks. I think it was Cleveland when he was a rookie. He got drafted by Cleveland. And then I think I saw him again on the Raiders Hard Knocks, if you guys ever watch Hard Knocks. And great dude. You know, as a rookie, he's trying to tell his fellow teammates about investments, his fellow rookies. And they're just like, what? Investments? You know, always had a good head on his shoulders. And he came out, you know, announced that he was, you know, homosexual this week. And you know what? Phil and I share the same opinion. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Great. I'm happy. I'm actually not even sure we should be talking about it because it's not even worth talking about. It's not a big deal. I'm happy that he did it. It's paving the way for future players. And then you've heard all the stories this week. There's been a ton of players who have, you know, it just hasn't been maybe as open, but there's been a ton of players that in the NFL dating all the way back to the 70s that I've been hearing. So not a big deal to me, but
the first player who after his career came out of the closet and was openly homosexual was the legendary tight end Jerry Smith of the Washington Redskins in the 60s and 70s, who when he retired had caught more touchdowns than any other tight end in the history of football up to that point in a career. So we're not just talking about the Michael Sam types who never actually saw the field. No, we're talking about a guy who some people are making a case that he should be in the Hall of Fame. And some people feel that the fact that he came out as gay during a time in which it was taboo still, is what's kept him from the Hall of Fame. Although, again, it's 2021. And we talk a lot about normalizing things. And I would love for the reason why we're talking about this is because everyone else is talking about it. They've spoken into being an elephant in the room that you have to address. At some point, this should not even matter. And I would think that in 2021, with all the celebrities and all the people that we know in our lives that have taken that step of saying, this is who I am, and say, I'm going to live my truth. Our general lack of, oh my God, this is so great, or oh my God, this is horrible, or whatever your personal feelings are. At this point, there shouldn't be really any. The only surprise is that it hasn't happened sooner to me.
Right.
But, live your truth, live your life. I don't care. I really don't care who you are. My only care is that when people are people, that they're just decent human beings, period. Just be a decent human being. He's a football player. By everything I've ever seen of the guy, dude works his ass off. That's what I care about. And that's not just in sports, but in anything. People I work with. I don't care what you do in the work. Anything that if I work with you, I only care about how you work. I only care about the work you put in at work. What you do in your bedroom, what you do at the nightclub, what you do whenever. Your business, not mine, as long as it's not affecting your work.
That's right. Don't violate the net. Straight up.
Live and let live is such a beautiful way to live, people.
That's right.
Unless you're a Red Wolves fan, then I'm not going to let you live.
Or a Cowboys fan. All right. So this week, the Washington Football Addicts launched a new offshoot series called the Washington Wayback series, starring my man, Big Phil Croninger over there. So, Phil, let's give everyone a quick down and dirty rundown of what the Washington Wayback series is, so people can get a good idea before they tune in. What's it all about?
Let's look at it this way. We're a team that's about to make a big pivot in its history. Obviously, we're in the middle of a name change, a culture change, trying to pull out of 30 years of a general malaise as a fan base. We've lost fans. We have fans. We now have 2 generations of fans that don't have a lot of history to go on, other than times that almost seem like they're in black and white to them. They're so long ago. And they date back to the days of VHS tapes and so forth. But no one's, other than, like the 18 minutes documentary, or was it the 18 plays documentary on Super Bowl 22, you occasionally get something that kind of brings that history to life, but we really need to let people know that this is a franchise that has had a lot more than the Hogs, Joe Gibbs, the Posse, Theismann, and Doug Williams. This is all you really hear. And then if you really go far back, Sonny Jurgensen. Let's bring some of this to life. And I'm not even going to talk about necessarily the stuff that everyone knows. My first episode was on the 99 Redskins, because that is, to me, and I laid out the case for this, the best team we've had in this town since the last time I won a Super Bowl. So that's 30 years. 30 years this year. And I wanted to say, hey, look, I know a lot of people remember 2012 because that was really exciting. I said, hey, look, we've had teams other than 2012 that were exciting. And this team came closer to an NFC championship game than we've seen in 30 years.
Right.
And let me tell you why. Let me tell you a little bit about it. I gave a little game by game synopsis. I did a little comparison between the other 2 10-win teams we've had in 30 years. God, we've had 3 in 30 years, guys. That's kind of depressing.
Preach.
But I compared the 99 team to the 05 team to the 2012 team. Just a little bit of a brief overview as to why I think this team's better. And I went into detail. And I'm going to talk about some highs. I'm going to talk about some lows. I'm going to talk about more of the history of this team. And I'm going to try to make it, 30 minutes or less. These are not going to be 2-hour long detailed deals. I could make it that way, but no one wants to hear my voice for that long. So I decided I'm going to try to take it upon myself to try to bring more history about this franchise than the stuff that everyone knows. This is stuff that the diehards may know, but the casual fans, the younger fans, this is the stuff they need to know. They need to, if you want to know about your team, let's learn. And let me tell you about it. And I try to make it visual. I got pictures up of different players, different games, things like that. Really tried to make this so you could get more of an image of what this whole history is. So it's definitely a labor of love because I'm learning how to edit images, sync it to audio, things like that. These are not things I'm naturally good at, people. But I'm learning, and God, wait till I figure out how to get video and audio from games and so forth interspersed in here. Then it's going to get even better. And I am trying to learn how to do that. So I liked how the first one came out. I was happy with it, but as with anything, you can make it even better. And I think that's going to, it's only going to get better and better from here.
So let's check it out for just a hot second.
Can't hear it at all.
No. Okay.
But you have an idea of the visual if you can see this on YouTube. I had pictures of Stephen Davis up there. Stephen Davis is one of my favorite players of my lifetime to watch. And it's funny because he's almost forgotten by this fan base. Everybody remembers Clinton Portis. Or it'll go back to Riggins. But guys like him, I mean, you got to think he and Terry Allen both broke the single season franchise record for rushing yards within 4 years of each other. It almost became a game of top this. I mean, Riggins' record had stood for over a decade. Terry Allen comes along, he breaks the record. 4 years later, Stephen Davis comes along, he breaks the record. And then Clinton Portis broke the record, about 6, 7 years after that. And then Alfred Morris came along and set it to where it is now. So I want to shine a light on some of these guys that just the fan base is kind of forgotten when they talk about who was your favorite running back, who was your favorite receiver, and you see everybody throw out the same couple of names, and they're deserved names. But let's broaden the discussion a little bit because there's been some other great players who are getting sorely overlooked because the team's performance hasn't matched their individual performance.
Yeah. Let's try this again real quick. I got something for him now.
Oh, he pulls up where I made a mistake.
Miami. And then you also had guys like Jeff Dellenbach and a couple others who filled in the holes as well at left guard.
Here now.
And honestly, my memory did fail me on that one because left guard for Washington 99 was not a position where you had.
Hey, you know what? See, Phil's not perfect. We can show that he's not perfect. So that's what we did.
If for those who are listening and didn't get the visual on that, I meant to say Jeff Ulenig because he was backup guard and center for us during that time. And I said Jeff Dellenbach because I was thinking of Keith Dellenbach, who also played for the Dolphins like Ulenig and like Keith Sims. So this is where knowing too many names, they start to run together a little bit. So I put up the infamous double facepalm meme from Star Trek in there, just pointing out that, I said the wrong name, and I'll cop to it. But the fact that I knew I said the wrong name, right there, see, your boy does have all those names stored up here. Watched too much ESPN and read too many of those Athlon magazines from back in the day. Dating myself with that reference.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and close this one out. It's been a good one. Phil, you got any shout outs?
Shout out to the hundreds of new members who have joined the Washington Football Addicts Facebook group in the past week.
Oh man, blowing up.
We were every day that number has been climbing, but man, in the past week, it has just it's like our membership is just taking just strapped a rocket on its back and just shot up. Right. I mean, we went from 5,800 to 6,100 now, just in a matter of about a week.
Yeah,
and that's 300 plus people we've added in a week.
Yep.
Now, a lot of those where somebody was adding like all their friends to the group.
Hey, it's all good.
That's what we like. We like organic growth. We want people to come to this group, be like, man, this group is awesome. They have an awesome podcast. They got awesome discussion going on. And it's not just most of the discussion in that group is not driven by us, the mods and the admins. We help it a little bit, but really, it's the people in the group that drive the discussion. We have some of the best discussion out there.
That's
and shout out to all these people who have joined. I hope you contribute, especially when the season comes. I'd love to see those game day threads.
Oh,
those
man.
are some of the best things. You guys don't understand. If you're not a member of the group and you're listening to this podcast, join the group, especially for those game day threads. You just pop open the live game thread. You get a good day would be 600-700 comments.
Yep.
Just people discussing back and forth, talking about the game as it happens.
It's almost like you're watching at a bar with a bunch of friends as things come up, but it's in the text version instead of an audio version.
And I expect those things are going to be weekly over 1,000.
Oh yeah,
the way this group has grown since the last season.
It's going to be live. It's going to be live.
Oh yeah, it's the place to be, people.
No doubt. All right, well. Shout out to Deb. Shout out to Rod. They couldn't make it here tonight. And yeah, like Phil said, shout out to everybody joining the group. I don't know what Facebook algorithm is going on, but the group is blowing up. It's almost too much for us to handle at the moment. But it's been a great run, and it is slow off season, and it's just gonna get better as we get closer to actual training camp, which. Not exactly sure the dates on that yet. I think it's the end of July going into, I believe it's the last week of July going into August, because I'll be on vacation. That's why I know it. So we're going to close one out. It's been great. Episode 76 in the books, and we will see you guys next time for episode 77. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Find us on all your major platforms where you can get your podcast received to you. And now we are also on YouTube for the visual folks of the group. So it was great chatting, and we'll go live here probably in one of these next few weeks where we can do this and answer some questions as we're going through. So y'all be safe, be easy, and we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Peace.